Hi, my name is David Hills and I'm Senior Director at Arc Workplace Risk. We're working to develop a series of short, informative videos on the key elements of the new Building Safety Regime, the Building Safety Act and associated legislation. And in this video, I'll be focusing on the need for and an overview of the principles of building safety management systems. So just to confirm, the buildings in scope under the Act include high-rise residential buildings, which is any building containing 2 or more residential or domestic premises that are at least 18 metres above ground level or has at least 7 stories. So what do we mean about a building safety management system? Firstly, I'd like to explain why we need a specific building safety management system in the first place. Now, many property professionals may already have experience of working with health and safety management systems, which includes policies and procedures, all designed to manage health and safety risks and compliance within their organisation or for a specific building. You may even have a certified system such as ISO 45001 Occupational Health and Safety. You may also be familiar with the importance of using such a system and keeping it updated. Now, these systems cover occupational health and safety at work, a requirement of the management regulations, and it covers day-to-day health and safety arrangements for your employees and others, such as contractors working on or in around your buildings, as well as visitors to these buildings. And these systems are effectively designed to ensure a safe and healthy workplace. You may also, though, have a fire safety management system developed under BS 9997, covering all the fire safety equipment systems. For example, how you manage and maintain your fire alarm system, or how you communicate and deal with the evacuation procedures for tenants, all of which are requirements under the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order. So, why do we need a building-specific safety management system? If you are accountable for an occupied residential building, you will be required under the Building Safety Act to provide a safety management system that manages building safety risks, which are defined in the Act as those risks associated with the spread of fire or structural failure. Now, the aim of the Building Safety Act is to keep residents safe, and when you look at it like that, you can see that there are big gaps between the traditional occupational or operational health and safety and fire safety management systems and the need for a building safety management system which focuses on residents' safety. So, how do we get started? The starting point in developing a building safety management system is the risk assessment, as the system has to cover all of the risks identified relating to both the spread of fire as well as structural safety. Now, I'm not going to cover the risk assessment topic in any detail in this video, other than to point out the relationship between the risk assessment and your management system itself. Now, you may already be undertaking a fire risk assessment at your building under the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order, and this may be suitable and sufficient as so far as fire safety is concerned. But it is very unlikely that it covers all the possible structural failure risks. Now, with the introduction of the Fire Safety Act in 2021, your fire risk assessments now have to cover areas such as tenants' fire doors and external walls and the structure related to that. And you'll need to ensure that the scope of your assessment covers not only the common areas, but also at least a sample of the tenants' demised areas, as well as other maybe commercial areas, especially given the fact that the majority of fires start within tenants' demised areas. But let's go back to the basics here. Fire risk assessments do not cover structural risks, and that is an essential element of your building safety management system. Now, once you have your assessment, covering, as I said, both fire and structural safety, you can now start to develop your building safety management system. It should also be noted, though, that your management system plays a vital role in the safety case report, so it is imperative that you get this right from the outset. So, what does a safety management system need to do? First things, it's got to ensure that those who are responsible for safety within that building are held to account. It's got to include the roles and responsibilities. It's got to make sure that everybody who is involved understands what they are responsible for doing. It needs to show how your building safety risks are both understood and how you are managing those, both fire and structural risks, now and in the future. It also needs to include all of the policies, the procedures, as well as your software system to ensure the safety of residents is clearly understood, managed, and assured. It's also got to support your safety case report. It's got to include clear change control processes, setting out how those changes are recognised, how they are treated, how they are considered, and how the systems are updated, as I said, such as your safety case report. It needs to include how you will track your ongoing management governance and ensure that you have got really good understanding of how well you are performing against basic compliance requirements. And it's here you're going to need software to support that. And finally, it sets out how you will be learning the lessons from incidents such as mandatory occurrences and actually getting your system right for the next time. Now, one of the important elements when developing your system is to ensure that your safety management system is proportionate to the risks identified within your risk assessment. It should therefore be based on an in-occupation risk assessment for the whole building, and therefore it cannot be just a generic system designed to cover any type of building. There has to be some considerable degree of specificity needed here. That being said, where you do have multiple buildings, clearly some of the requirements, some of the policies and arrangements will be applicable to multiple buildings. Now, how complex your safety management system is and the type of software you use to assist you in implementing the system will depend upon how complex your building and the fire safety and structural safety systems are within it. In addition, the size of your organisation and the number of buildings you have responsibility for will also play a factor in that role. Now, when developing your system, the framework and the software you intend to use needs to ensure that it covers 4 main areas. Firstly, it's about ensuring your system details how you plan. You need to set out very clearly the arrangements, the policies and procedures for all the day-to-day management, maintenance and control actions that are needed. Again, depending upon the identified hazards and risks. Then it needs to cover what you are doing. For example, how you are assessing and profiling your building risks. What actions are needed to remove or reduce or manage those risks, whether it be by remediation or individual risk management. Then your system should include how, on a regular basis, you are checking how well you are doing, measuring how well you are performing against your stated policies for your particular building. And lastly, acting, changing your management system on a regular basis to deal with any failures, performance issues, or actions that need to be taken after lessons learned. Now, going forward, as accountable persons and principal accountable persons, or any person supporting the AP or the PAP, will need to be reviewing how you currently manage residential properties and then develop the new arrangements, the new policies, the new procedures, as well as ensure you have the right systems and software in place to assist you for managing and implementing your safety management system for your buildings for the future. If you do not have the competence to develop this safety management system, this will mean that you will have to have the support of a professional advisor or competent persons to develop this. I would though add that you should check to make sure that they are suitably and sufficiently insured. As the Building Safety Regulator has stated, an effective safety management system has to include both the measures, the policies and procedures in place to manage building safety risks, as well as the systems to ensure that they are effective. Okay, so when do we need to have this building safety management system ready? Now, although the Act became law in 2022, the requirement of a safety case report becomes a duty from October 2023. And this is important as the building safety management system forms an integral part of that safety case report, it is clear that the building safety management system needs to be in place, up and running well before this. Our tip is to ensure that your software is designed to support you in the process of building safety management and not hinder you. Some management systems, such as CUDA, allow you to automate your safety management approach and keep you up to date on how compliant you are. Thank you for listening. If you would like more information or see how ARC's Building Safety Assurance Services makes it easier to manage risk and compliance and safety at your building, then please contact us using the details provided.